Hi guys, I'm back with this video, and today I'm going to explain a little bit about my Homelab. I wanted to do a video so I could explain a little bit easier what I did here. I have to say that this Homelab, it's very specific because every single machine is Linux, and not all business use Linux. Actually, a lot of servers use Linux, but for a company, normally they will use a Windows environment, right? So domain controllers and all of that. But I think Linux has a really big advantage, especially if you don't need to enforce policies on the users. So if you have like a company that you don't have a lot of workers like working with computers, you don't need to enforce stuff on their systems, but you still have but you still want to have local name resolution, mailing, all the core infrastructure services. I think Linux is a pretty good option. So I'm gonna show it to you here. I don't have a hypervisor. I have virtualized a hypervisor on a VM here, so I'm gonna open up the KVM on Linux. So virtual machine manager here, just to show you that I already put up the virtual machine. So it's this one. It's basically VMware ESXi. So it's a hypervisor here. I'm virtualizing it, and I give it 12 gigs. Well, it's not 12 gigs this, but it's 11 something. But just so I can create some virtual machines to simulate some services. Of course, this is a really low amount for a hypervisor, so I have to improvise a little bit. And a lot of services have a really low memory. It's not ideal. You want to have way more memory for some virtual machines. But in this case, I'm just using my laptop that only has 16 gigs, so I have to left some gigs to my host, and then I give 12 gigs to the actual hypervisor. So it's booted up. I'm going to open up here Firefox to open up, and this is okay. Type esxi.local. That's the host name that I give it. And this is normal. It's just like saying that it's a self-signed certificate, but I'm pretty sure that that's my virtual machine. If you see this on a public network, for sure don't proceed, unless you are the system. No, don't proceed. Okay, so I'm gonna use my credentials here. Okay. So, as you could see, I have some stats here. So I give it 200 gigs total for storage, 11.72 for memory. So, and if I go here to the virtual machines, we're going to talk about it. This is going to be just an introduction video about the Homelab, because there is a lot of stuff here and I can't cover everything in one video. Only this introduction is going to be a big video already, so I can't really cover. So let's go to the networking. So basically, I have created virtual switches. So think of this as being just bridges, and for each network. So for example, I show you that diagram at the beginning. That's that's how my network is designed. So this switch 0 is basically my net interface of my host. So that's the one address so that's going to be the one interface for the firewall, and then we're going to have all of these virtual switches that are going to act as VLANs pretty much, or isolated networks, whatever. But in ESXi you can't use directly a switch. You can't attach a NIC to directly to a switch here, so I have to create a port group to each virtual switch. So this is just linking to each switch that I have here, and then you have to link the port group to each VM. You can't do a direct link from the VM to the virtual switch for some reason. So the network is pretty simple. I have some networks. I have the management network. This is just for having a management service. So this service, it's the only thing that is accessible to the sysadmin. So from the outside of this environment, of this Homelab. So here from my host I can access this management network, in this case through SSH, and then from once I'm inside in the management server, I can access all the other servers. But I cannot access directly, I don't have direct access from my host to all the services. First I have to go to the management server, and then from then I can branch out to any server that I want to. I think this is a good approach for security and for our organization actually also, because if you have direct SSH access to every server, you would have to really secure every single server through SSH, and you still have to secure, but it's a much bigger attack surface, right? While here, I have to basically really secure well this management server, or if you have multiple, and then once I'm inside, I can branch out to any server. So if I go to my virtual machines here, you can see that every single this is just a naming convention that I use, but you can see that every virtual machine ends in privnet.local. So this is the domain name that I have created for this Homelab. .local, because it's a local, it's not on the internet or something. But if you have a domain name, if your company has a domain name, obviously it's going to be your domain name of your company, and then has the host name of each server. It's pretty straightforward. We have mgmt01. So I like to have this convention of putting numbers always, because you could have multiple of them, especially if you have heavy workloads, or if you have a lot of connections going on. So that's the management server. So if I open up a terminal here, I'm gonna open up a terminal on my host here, and I'm gonna maximize, and I'm gonna SSH. So the username is sysadmin, and this is my host name. I think because I have a really restrictive firewall here, so I'm gonna just allow SSH connections now. I don't know the IP address of it, so I'm just gonna say protocol DHCP the port 22. Let's accept that. And now maybe I could go. No. What is going on? Is the SSH server not running on this guy? They all have static IP, so it's not an IP misconfiguration. So I'm logging in using the console here. Why I don't have SSH access? Oh, that's running. Wow, very interesting. Where is my SSH rule? What? I did something. What is it? So I'm just fixing here a little bit problem that I have here. It's here. Why is not applying? Yep, IP tables, a input, protocol, TCP, the port 22 dash destination, internal IP dash J accepts. What's the problem then? What? Okay, now it's there. I don't know why it. What? The service is running. That script, I created a systemd service to run daemon to run it at begin, but it didn't create this, or it stopped at the middle for something. Something happened and it didn't add a rule. Now I should be able to go there. Log out. Log out. Well, it's sysadmin, the username, and the hostname is that. And I have to put a passphrase to unlock my key. Okay, so this is the management server here. Of course, this is really low memory. You don't want to be this low. But whatever. I don't have a lot of memory to spare, so that's why I did this. But this is the management server, and now I can branch out to any other server that I want to. Okay, so the sysadmin connects to this one and then can connect to every single other one. So the management server is basically, the management server, so it can manage the firewall. If I open up here the console, I have access to the firewall. But what I did is actually I did something that I shouldn't be doing. I add a rule to basically allow access from the WAN interface, because I want to have access directly here from my host. It should not do this, but I did this because it's easier for me. Because the console here, UI is really slow. But it would have access from here. And then we have the FW1, so this is a firewall, and it's PFSense. So, like I said, I add this netting rule that you should not do, but for the sake of this video, and it's easier for me to manage, I can just type FW1, prevnet on local, and I would also have to specify the ports, since I changed the default port. And I don't know if you noticed something, but you could see that the connection is secure. Now, this is an internal IP address, and it's a self-signed certificate. Would have to show the warning like ESXi is showing here. So, like I did create a server here that I called the root CA, and this server is most of the time is offline for security reasons, because this server contains is basically my certificate authority for the company. So, if the company needs to run some app that needs encryption, SSL encryption, I would basically create a signing request here, and I would sign that signing request with the service with the root CA private key. And what happened is that because this browser, I have added the root CA public certificate, and now it trusts every single certificate that is signed by it. So that's what I did. I did this. I signed a certificate for PFSense, so I modify it, and now it's trusted. If you click it, you can even see that connection is verified by a certificate issued that is not recognized by Mozilla, because it's my own. And you could see that my name is really it's really straightforward. It's root CA. But if you go to more information, I did create this certificate here. So as you can see, PrivNet, that's the common name, and we have the power version. It's very bad, but that's there, and I just made this up. And here we have the subject alt names, which is really important. So this has to match whatever you put here, and this is the IP. So even though I don't need to put the actual host name, I could just put the IP. Will also work. Well, here will not work because I'm not inside of that network. But from the management server, I could put this IP there, and it would work. Okay. So let me just go back. Okay, so I'm gonna log into PFSense. This is too long. Wait. What is the password? There we go, that's PFSense. I open up because it's easier to see the networks here, right? So what I just was talking about, we have the WAN, which is basically the net from my host, and that has that IP address, and then I have all the networks. So the LAN is the management one that has the subnet /24. All of them are /24. Then we have the infrastructure where we have core services for the company, like name server, so DNS resolution, NTP server for time synchronization, really important, and the DHCP server for giving IP addresses dynamically to some subnets. In this case, I'm only giving dynamic IPs to the Lab 1 subnet. This is supposed to have some workstations there, and they should be getting an IP address automatically from the DHCP that it's on the infra network. Then we have the services. This network is basically for services that are internal to the company. So let's say that a company let's say a company has a portal that any employee when it arrives, it has to log in into the portal and mark its presence or something. And then we have the external network. This is the same but for external services. So this is services that are communicating through the internet. So I separated these two because this one is accessible through the internet, so it's more dangerous, of course. And if one of these gets compromised, at least they are on their own network. They do not pass to the services internal ones. Or at least it's harder to mitigate from this network to this one. And then we have this is the monitoring network. So this is what I have, the syslog server. So basically I aggregate all the logs from other servers into one server, so it's easier to see. I just need to log there and just basically search through the logs in one place. Much easier management. And later I want to implement even a UI, so it's easier to see. And here I have Prometheus and Grafana, so I can check the metrics of every server, see at least the core services, the core servers, so I could see its health status, the CPU usage,